We're looking at the verse, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Guide us to the right path, or the straight path. This quest for a straight path has been an elusive target for humanity at large. After much trial and error, much deliberation, we have now settled on a methodology to determine what is the straight path towards understanding, identifying, and exploiting matter. It's a methodology where method is all important. And therefore you find that if you have an idea, then that idea has to be presented to your peers, and that idea then undergoes peer review, and if it is replicable, and if all of the parameters have been met, then we would say that now you have established a scientific fact. All of that is based on methodology. The kind of sirat al-mustaqim that we are talking about in this particular ayah, in this particular surah, is based on morality, not on methodology. Two very different ways of arriving at the truth. Here you look at the persona, the individual, his characteristics, his morality, his ethics, his spirituality, to determine if he is indeed delivering the truth. For you have no other yardstick to determine if A is delivering the truth or B is delivering that truth. And the Prophet ﷺ exemplified this when he stood up for the first time, years after he had received revelation. He stood up and he addressed his people in Mecca, and he presented to them his credentials. Not the number of articles that he had published in peer-reviewed journals, but his moral, ethical credentials. So he told them, Ara'aytum, consider that if I have to tell you that behind this mountain is an army about to attack you, would you believe me? And they said, yes. And then they made a very telling comment. He says, after all, you are a sadiqul ameen. You are truthful in your word, and you are honest in your interactions, in your transactions. We understand, appreciate, respect your morality and your ethics. So therefore, without having any material knowledge of whether an army is indeed attacking, we will accept your word for it. That is the basis of this ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. And therefore we look to the Anbiya and the Rusul and the Awliya. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم من النبيين والصديقين والشهداء والصالحين وحسن أولئك رفيقا. These are our guides in this spiritual domain. Two very different areas. And you would agree that whilst for the longest time our social affairs were imbued to some extent by morality and ethics, much of that has now disappeared. The truth is no longer the truth, particularly in the political domain. Righteousness is no longer righteousness. It no longer matters. It just does not matter. As long as my political, social agenda is pursued, that is all that matters. So we have a challenge as members of the Muslim community, followers of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to rekindle that lamp of morality and ethics. That those things still matter. Truthfulness, honesty, integrity, they matter. They are the driving force of a balanced society. Inshallah, we'll talk about that tomorrow.